Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. Tonight I'm going to be doing a collection video. This is going to be my entire French horror collection. Plus I'm going to add Belgian French movies and also French Canadian movies. So it's basically all my films that have French speaking or French production, because some of them are actually spoken in English. But as I said, the main countries are France, Belgium and Canada. So I've shown off a French collection a long time ago, but since then I've got a lot of new titles. Plus, as I just said, I'm going to include my French Canadian stuff. So I'm going to get straight into it because there is a massive pile here, and I'm just making sure I haven't missed anything out. Yep, that's pretty much it. So I can't see anything else on my shelf. So this is my whole collection. Hopefully you find a few new titles in here and at least find this somewhat interesting. So I'm going to start off with a French classic, Eyes Without a Face, made in 1960, black and white, very gory, and this is pretty much where it all started for French horror films. This is a classic, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone who likes your more older sort of horror. We've got Martyrs. I talk about this too much, so I'm not going to go into any details. There are a few films here that I've shown many times, but yeah, this speaks for itself. Humains, this one's not as good as the more well-known French horror movies. It's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, but it's definitely one of the lesser sort of French horror movies, but still one to have if you're a fan of French horror. The French animation, Fears of the Dark, very good animation, very disturbing. If you like your cartoon sort of movies, then this one's definitely one to get. Not many people talk about it, but yeah, definitely see it because it is a very good one. Caged, this is one of my favourite French horror movies, one of the very new films to come out. It's a political, well, a lot of people say it's a political propaganda film. I don't agree with that. It's just a horror movie. So you're looking too much into it if you're going to say it's political. But it did spark a lot of controversy. If you want more details on these movies, I've reviewed the majority of them. So if you want to check out the review, please be my guest. In Their Sleep, another one of the newer French horror movies. Very good, very stylish. So if you like the stylish kind of film, then I would say definitely go and get it. Not much to the story, but it's just very well made and the characters are very likeable. The insane French zombie film, The Horde. Just really fun. You don't have to use your brain. Just sit back, buckle in, and enjoy a hell of a ride. This is Belgian French, and this is Cannibal. Very good love story, a very morbid story, featuring a young woman who just happens to dine on human flesh. Very good. My favourite horror film of all time, Inside. Very violent. One of the most shocking, violent movies I've seen in my entire life. I love it. Just a whole lot of fun. Plus, it will really disturb you. It's very graphic. Mutants, one of my favourite French horror movies of all time. Once again, the French delivered on this one. If you like your infected / zombie movies, this one will definitely interest you. A monster film called The Pack. A lot of fun. Once again, not to be taken too seriously. Some very well-known French actors in this one. I love the cover art on it too. This is another Belgian French movie called Aimer. This is way too pretentious. I thought it was just a show of arrogance, but there's a little bit of variation. It's interesting the way it's done, but it gets old very quickly, so I was very disappointed with this one. Another Belgian French movie, The Ordeal. Now this one is brilliant, one of my favourites. Really twisted. So Laurent Lucas stars in this movie, fantastic actor. Also Philippe Nahon, who's another brilliant French actor. A lot of French actors in the film, but it is actually a Belgian production. So this one is one that I cannot recommend enough. Alexander Aja's Switchblade Romance, aka High Tension. This is before Alexander Aja became a sellout. He's since gone to America and he's just completely forfeited his style and he's just making movies for money now. But this was before he went bad. And it had a twist on it that a lot of people didn't like, but I actually enjoyed it. Frontiers. Now this is another classic French horror film. Xavier Gens has gone to America. Fortunately, he has gone back to his old style with his latest film, The Divide. I really like that one. And this one has a similar atmosphere. So if you're a fan of The Divide, or even Hitman, then I'd definitely say check out his French movie. Shaitan, aka Satan, starring Vincent Cassel. Very twisted film, disturbing themes. I really liked it, so definitely check it out. The French slasher High Lane. This one grew on me. I didn't like it to start with, but I really like it now. The first half of it is breathtaking. The second half, the slasher part, not so great, but overall it is a memorable film. Prey, another one of the very recent French releases. This is very suspenseful, about killer boar, so it's a creature feature film, typical French stuff. Dante 01, that was made by Marc Caro, who helped Jean-Pierre Jeunet with films like Amélie and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very stylish film, but unfortunately the ending really let it down. I hear that the ending didn't have too much, the director didn't have too much money left, so he had to rush the ending, and you can really tell that. It's unfortunate, but the majority of it is interesting. The very psychological film, Them. I love this movie. It's better than The Strangers. I feel that The Strangers is a remake of this movie because they're both very similar. It's not very violent, but it's just really, really suspenseful. So I highly recommend this one. Stranded, another one of the very recent French releases. Some people didn't like this, but I really liked it. I think it's a very good psychological horror movie. It's a very slow burner, so you're going to have to wait for the action, but once it happens, it is very rewarding. The Serpent, this is more of a thriller than a horror, but I'm still going to put it into my horror collection. This is very similar to Cape Fear. It has the same tension, and Clovis Cornillac, who plays the villain, really reminded me of Robert De Niro's portrayal of Max Cady. So, a very good movie that no one talks about, but highly recommended. Territories. Now this is a French-Canadian film. It's spoken in English. One of my favourite movies. I love it. A lot of people hate it because it does paint America in a bad way. Very political film, but I feel that it is definitely one worth taking the time out to see. And then the last one for this pile is Vignon Lost Souls, the same director of The Ordeal. This is a lot different from The Ordeal. It's very, very visual. It's surreal, and it's just no violence in it. Well, next to no violence. At the end, it's a little bit gory, but majority of it is just like you're in a nightmare, so very good stuff. Baby Blood. This is a classic French horror film made in the 90s. Creature feature. It was also a very light-hearted comedy sort of approach. I really liked it. The remake that happened 18 years afterwards, this one really let me down. I don't know why Baby Blood needed a remake, because it seemed like they didn't put any effort into this one. It came across as a TV movie, so not recommended. One of the very disappointing films. Eden Log, Clovis Cornillac, once again, fantastic actor. This is a very artistic kind of horror movie. If you like your sci-fi horror, you'll get something out of this one. Unfortunately, I think it relies a little bit too much on the visuals and not the story, but still one worth checking out. Patrice Daly and Vincent Gallo in Trouble Every Day. This is half English, half French. I didn't really like this one. It's very disturbing, very violent, but it just really didn't do anything for me. But still interesting nonetheless. Dominic Miles, Harry, He's Here to Help. This is about an obsessive friend who is willing to do anything to help out his mate. Then it turns out that the mate doesn't want help, and he takes exception to this. So, fantastic psychological horror / thriller. The same director. This is Lemming, once again starring Laurent Lucas, who is a fantastic actor, Charlotte Gainsbourg and Charlotte Rampling. This is a very weird movie, not as good as Harry, He's Here to Help. This is very, very slow burning, but it's definitely worth the effort. Now we go to my French-Canadian movies, and this is going to conclude it. So there's 5 French-Canadian movies that I have. The first one is 7 Days. This is an extremely hard movie to watch. Very, very depressing and very brutal. About a guy who kidnaps a pedophile who was responsible for raping and murdering his 8-year-old daughter. He kidnaps him and he's going to torture him for 7 days before killing him on his daughter's birthday. So it's really, really disturbing stuff, but highly recommended if you can stomach the extreme side of cinema. Very, very good movie. This one is very unique. 5150 Elms Way. If you're sick of the cliche sort of horror movies, this one will really interest you. It's about chess. It's about being loyal to God, and it's about righteousness and those who seen in a bad light to in the Lord's view. So very, very, very good movie. I highly recommend this to anybody who wants something a little bit different. Then we've got some movies. We've got Cannibal. I haven't seen this. This was sent to me by my good friend Magnus, Vault Keeper 2. Really looking forward to seeing it. All these movies that are about to come, there's 2 more, and these were also sent by my friend Magnus. This is Saint Martyrs des Demnes. I can't speak French, sorry, but this one looks very interesting. Looking forward to watching that. And last but not least is Lost Words. Sorry, I can't read the French title, but the actual English title is Lost Words. So this is a demonic possession film. Looks really cool, so I'll no doubt checking this one out very soon. Alright guys, that's my entire collection. This video has gone on for way too long, so I'm sorry about that, but hopefully you found this update or collection video interesting, and hopefully you got a few new titles out of this one. So anyway, until next time, keep watching movies, stay happy, and I'll see you later. Bye.